It's the 6th of December 2021 at 3:10 a.m. And here goes my, I don't know what this is called, but anyway, I've been listening to some podcasts and I was quite inspired by one of them. Well, inspired. And he said this weekly podcast was his way of recording his life to maybe just help him remember what happened in his daily life, because he said he has a very poor memory. Well, I guess that's a good way to remember. So here I am. If you're hearing some mouse clicking sound, it's because I am doing drafting read at night. Well, it's okay because I've actually taken a nap at about 9:30 to 12. I took a break back then, so yep, feeling okay. And I just had a cup of coffee and mixed some matcha powder in it, so I'm like super awake now. So it's 6th of December. It's a good date to start something new. Like, use it as an anniversary date because it's a special day. And why is it special? Because it's someone's birthday. And I think people are going to laugh, but I don't care, because it's 5月天阿信的生日。I sound like a super fangirl. But yeah, it's always good on 6th December because I'm just reminded of a talented, good-looking, humorous man born this day. Okay, I mean, I don't know who's gonna hear this, but you can laugh all you want. Yeah. So here I am drafting and trying to do a podcast. Well, I don't know where this will lead me. But anyway, let's see. Maybe it can be just a very short one daily, just to help me process my own thoughts and see if I can actually get things done faster. Okay, this doesn't look like it's happening. Okay, so I'm just drafting stuff. Okay, seems good. So sometimes I feel like drafting, it's a bit of like no-brainer when it's like repetitive work and you just don't think. It's all copy and paste. So this is the time when I can do like multitasking or listening to some other podcast. And I think sometimes, I don't know if it's just for me, but I feel kind of drained. I don't know what happened. When I talk to too many people, have too much human interaction in a day within a short period of time. And people say that living in this generation, we are like we are bombarded with a lot of information every day, and we often get overwhelmed by it because there's just too many things to process. And I often wonder how it's like to live in a days when there's no smartphone, when we don't use so much of the internet. And actually sometimes I do actually just watch shows from the 1990s or early 2000s, just to see how people live their lives differently as compared to now, because the invention of smartphone really just changed everything. Yeah, so it can be a good or bad thing, or it depends on how we use it. And of course, with the sinful nature of man, people tend to abuse it, and I came to this realization that whatever that is inherently good will be inherently good, would be abused by mankind somehow. So when there's the invention of smartphone, people use it to take photos of people when they're not supposed to, like upskirt photos. I'm sounding like a retard because I'm multitasking. And so there's this Nasi Lemak group that was exposed last year. Was a Telegram group that shared explicit photos of people, and it's really nasty. So things like that wouldn't have happened in the past because there's no smartphone to make this so easily done. So this is one thing about smartphones. People use it as a tool of crime, for their crime. And okay, I'm done with the photo, the plan. Moving on to the next one. So I feel like I'll just information overload and maybe human interaction overload. You're hardly alone, you hardly actually have time for yourself to ponder about things, to reflect on your life. Yeah, and it's 3:20 and I just got a new notification from Facebook. And I think last week or some time ago, I heard of this thing that saying that our brain is not designed, not created to have multiple tabs open and having notifications pop up every now and then. And it's just a very new era we're living in. I see a lizard on the floor. I'm wondering what I should do with it. Oh, it's going. Whatever. Yeah. So. And previously I was also watching YouTube and I found this term called dopamine addiction, where you get a certain increase in the rise of I'm talking about an increase in dopamine when you see certain notifications, like when someone likes a photo, when someone comments on a post and stuff, and it doesn't happen in the past, and it may or may not be a good thing, and sometimes this causes an imbalance of chemicals in the brain and does funny things to your brain. So this podcaster I was listening to said that he actually forced himself to do some detox and digital minimalism. He he deleted the app, those social media apps like Instagram and Facebook and stuff. And if he needs to use them, he has to log into the browser and then log in. And every time he stops using it, he logs out. So this sort of like help him cope. Just reduces the use of smartphone. And I don't know if he actually also changed the settings of his phone to make his screen black and white, so that actually makes his phone less attractive. And actually there was once I was just playing with the settings on my phone, and there was actually this option which you can do that, and it really made a huge difference. And I almost couldn't recognize my phone anymore. I don't really want to use it, although it's pretty much the same thing, same contents, but the appearance is just very different and looks a lot more unattractive. So I guess this is why. So what is this notification telling me? Wait, was that a like? Oh, okay, so this person just liked my comment on a news report. So this is from Mothership, and it says sugar book user alleges teacher advertised herself as a sugar baby, and he complained to MOE, Ministry of Education. I read the article, and so basically this story is about this person finding out this sugar baby is actually a teacher, and he was expecting a teacher should be held at a high standard. And Ministry of Education is aware of the complaint and is looking into it. Okay, first things first, I know it's regulation by MOE that civil servants are not allowed to work 2 jobs at a time. That was what my teacher friends has been telling me, so this also means that teachers cannot work at tuition centers or give private tuition, something like that. But then some teachers do it secretly or something. And as I grew up and some of my friends did become teachers in the end, sharing some parts of their job, I really realized that teachers do have very little free time after work. They work long hours and it's kind of hard to actually have another job. And I think they are paid a decent amount. As civil servants, they get bonus. And although some teachers say that they will fork out money from their own pockets to buy classroom supplies and stuff, and I think as a civil servant, you won't starve, but it's not going to make you like super rich either. I mean, that's my perception. I may be wrong, but yeah, civil servants, if both husband and wife are working as civil servants, they have like 1 or 2 children. They don't like have too many children to feed. Their parents are relatively healthy. They don't have to hire a caretaker to take care of the parents. I think they should be doing okay in life. Okay as in like not in debt, except for paying for their house or car. Yeah, so there may or may not be a need to get a second job. And so back to the story. So this guy, he found this person who is a teacher working as a sugar baby. So I commented on the post. I called him a hypocrite. I asked why is this person doing a sugar baby website if it's not looking for one. And I said that this person isn't better if he is hiring a sugar baby himself. And well, we shouldn't view teachers as saints. They do make mistakes and they are just like any one of us. They do get tired, and the teacher is someone to teach. This person is, of course, the things the teacher teaches is also like setting a good example, teaching moral values to students, and in general don't be a horrible person, like teaching your students to curse and swear, teaching your students to go gamble and stuff like that. Don't tell your students that it's okay to commit a crime, you can get away with it, things like that. But whatever that person do outside the office hours is actually none of your business, right? So yeah, it's actually none of your business. And of course it's maybe a little contradicting to have a teacher working as a sugar baby as a part-time job. But I don't know why this person is like creating trouble for this person, because he found out that she's a sugar baby. I wouldn't say like it's a completely immoral job to have. Well, if you do some comparison, it's actually not as bad as a scammer. So there's this Chinese saying like 你不偷不抢. So it's not that bad. 不偷不抢，不拐不骗. Yeah, you don't steal, you don't lie, you don't rob. And it's just honest money. It's not like the current society where they say like, oh, 你笑贫不笑娼. Well, things like that. You know that there is a lot of Chinese saying which I find it ironic. So one of the lines I've heard in a drama series I've watched, it says 职业不分贵贱. And the other person said like, 那你不是还分了？如果没有分贵贱，那就不会有这个成语啊，就不会有这个谚语吧。所以这世界还是蛮现实的。所以我觉得 I wouldn't say that it's completely wrong to be a sugar baby, but ideally you wouldn't want to take it up as a job unless you're really in some dire financial needs and you need a lot of money in a short period of time. Probably that can be a solution. Not that I'm encouraging it. And this job is not as simple as you think it is. There's complications to it, and it's really something you would want to consider properly before you enter this trade. But then I don't feel like these group of people should be prosecuted because it only exists because there is a demand for it. There would be men looking for these women, and this trade would probably only disappear when men don't go out looking for women anymore. According to biblical terms, it's committing adultery. As a Christian, I wouldn't say this is something I would say it's okay for you to do, but I don't think it's right to judge people like this, people who are sugar babies. Probably they have their own stories, they have their own struggles, so it's not up to me to condemn them. I'll probably condemn the men. Yeah, I'll condemn the men. They are the people looking for women outside their marriage. They're being unfaithful to their wives. So this person is a hypocrite, and there are lots of hypocrites around. And yesterday I had some interesting conversations. It's good, and I'm glad that I am willing to discuss more serious issues with people. Although I feel it took me a lot of courage and some brain power, and these are things that tire me out. But sometimes some issues need to be addressed, and I'm glad I gained some clarity and come up with some conclusions on my own and made some decisions for myself. And we are living in this crazy world where a lot of things just don't make any sense to me. There is a lot of inconveniences because of the problems we face right now, and it's really like we need to find ways to work around these inconveniences. Sometimes I do get frustrated. I do murmur. I really dislike what we're facing now. But I guess life still goes on. And I'll probably have to do a little bit more self-reflection on my own, because I feel like whatever I say on the podcast, I know if I publish it, it will be heard by someone, and I need to be responsible for what I say. And if I were to have this filter in my mind, I wouldn't be my truest self. One of my friends actually told me that you are only your truest self when you are alone. And this is very true, because when you're alone, you don't really have to care about what others feel, what others think of you. You don't have an image to uphold. Not like I'm saying I'm some like two-faced person, but then when you're alone, you don't have to always say things that are politically correct. You don't have to fear offending someone. You don't have anyone to impress. You don't have anyone to please. So I do value times like this. I journal. I would use it as a space for me to just sort out my thoughts. Sometimes there may be some internal conflict, and I'll just write them out and see what's the conflict about, and find out what's bothering me and feel better after that. So that's my coping mechanism for stressful times like this. And I feel this is a form of self-care, and sometimes I feel a lot more refreshed after sorting out my thoughts. I feel less burdened. I feel like I just dumped all the rubbish from my brain out. You should try it sometimes, if it helps. Especially when there's no one you can talk to. Of course, it's great to have someone to talk to, but you don't always have this all the time. You're mostly on your own, and you just have to learn how to be comfortable in your own self, in your own skin, not only in terms of appearance, but also your mental state in general. And sometimes I know it can get quite ugly. You have to deal with the not so nice thoughts in your head. You may be saying the meanest things to yourself. But once you find out the reason why you're having these thoughts and you deal with them, you'll feel better. So I guess this is for today. I hope tomorrow will be better. And yeah, it's pretty much the end of 2021. Not sure how 2022 will be like. But let's hope things will get better. And we'll all find solutions to the problems we are facing today.